Alright, today we're going to be looking at index form, and this is very useful because ultimately what you can see up here is we have a very interesting expression, and we have 5 times 5 times 5 times 5 times 5 times 5, and we can write this in a more simplistic way to avoid any confusion or error. And the way that we do this is through index form, which is essentially some kind of number we call the base and some kind of number which we call the index or the exponent. In this particular scenario, 5 is repeated once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, 6 times. So the exponent would be 6. And that's all it is. We have rewritten this entire thing up here as 5 to the power of 6, which is what we say. Okay? If it were 5 times 5 times 5, well, we know that the base is the number that's being multiplied multiple times by itself, and we know that the exponent is the amount of times it was multiplied, once, twice, 3 times. Okay, that's another way of writing this expression here. Now it's important to notice that we can only do this if all of these are the same. The base the number we are multiplying it by has to be the same. So if we look at B, we have 3 times 3 times 2 times 3 times 2 times 3, and if you remember, multiplication allows us to reorder any of these into an order that we would ultimately prefer. So we can do all the 3's together multiplied before we even do anything else. So we can do this is equal to 3 times 3. How many 3's? 1, 2, 3, 4 times 3 times 3. And then there are 2 2's times 2 and times 2. Okay, this can be simplified as an index form of 3 times 3 times 3 times 3 multiplied by an index form of 2 times 2. So let's start out with the base of the first one. It's going to be 3. And how many 3's do we have? 1, 2, 3, and 4. And this is multiplied by our base of 2. And how many 2's do we have? 1 and 2. So the way we would say this is 3 to the power of 4 multiplied by 3 to the power of 2. Another way we say anything to the power of 2 is squared. Okay? And that's all we have to do for these types of questions. Unless they tell us to evaluate it or provide a solution, this is where the working out ends. They want us to convert this up here into its index form, which is this. And then this converted into an index form down here. Okay? You can't change the index form any further because the base has to be the same. Okay, give the questions the next slide a go, and I will see you in the next video.